And so I am here because I want to continue with my people pleasing series that I've been doing over the last couple of weeks. I'm sitting outside, and y'all, it is windy. Suffice it to say, the summer is over here. Our summer has left. It is a little windy, a little chilly. I think it's about, last time I looked, I think it was about 60 degrees, little windy, rainy today. So, but I decided to sit outside and do this video and talk to you guys. And so today I'm going to expand on people pleasing. I'm going to relate self-sabotage and self-respect. And let me tell you how that came about. So, I've been talking about people pleasing and releasing it. And it's one of the things that I'm releasing in my life. And so it's one of the reasons why I'm coming on here and talking about this, because I'm doing this work. And so as I've been doing that, had a conversation, a hot tub chronicle conversation that I'm going to actually probably type out here too and post. But we talked about this people pleasing and this self sabotaging and how it goes together, and also with its third component, self respect. And so I figured that was a trinity. Especially since we've been talking about a lot of things like that now. And, people are getting prepared for the rapture that now is supposed to be on October the 8th. So I guess we'll look for some people to be gone on October the 8th. But anyway, self sabotage and people pleasing. So they go hand in hand, they work together. And so I want to talk a little bit about people pleasing. So people pleasing can look like, because what I found in my own life is that people pleasing looks a lot of different ways. It's not just one thing. It looks a lot of different ways. And so people pleasing can look like kindness. It can look like generosity. I have notes, y'all. It can look like being easygoing, but underneath the surface, it's a survival pattern. That's what it is. It's an old program that whispers, if I keep everyone happy, I'll be safe, accepted, and loved. That's what that is. And it usually a lot of times it stems from childhood. This is how we were conditioned. um, Childhood conditioning. A lot of people learn that love and approval were conditional. So if you did this, or if you behaved this way, or if you performed in this way, or if you complied, then you got love. And this is how a lot of us were conditioned. Pleasing others became a way to avoid conflict, rejection, abandonment, all of those things. It just feels, when I think about it, it feels, whoa, I can't even really give it a word. But yeah, so those are parts of it, and a lot of the reasons why it's so difficult to release. It can be, let's say that. It doesn't have to be. It can be so difficult to release because we were conditioned. This is how we were conditioned. And then the other thing is, you could have energetic leaks. So instead of living from your God self, which is what I always talk about, living in the magic that you are, your authentic essence, you end up pouring energy into managing others' perceptions. So hear me now. You're managing other people's perceptions of you. You are feeding into what they think of you. This creates a disconnect from you, from your true needs, from your desires, really from yourself. And so it shows up a lot of times in self sabotage as overcommitting and exhaustion. And I am raising my hands, both of them, because those are things that I have had issues with in the past. Those are things that I am releasing, overcommitting and exhaustion, because I used to do that. And then I would say yes, yes, yes. And my body and spirit were screaming, no, no, no. And I would do it. And then I would start feeling burned out. And then I want to just drop everything. I want to burn everything down. I start having resentment because people are not showing up the way that I'm showing up. My creative flow is blocked. I feel stuck. It keeps me from pursuing the path that I am supposed to pursue, the thing that God sent me here to do, the thing that the universe put me here to do. Causes you to shrink your voice. Shrink your voice. So stop speaking up. And so I realized in my own life that that was a thing, because I had shrunk my voice, because I felt like if I'm quiet and if I'm agreeable, then I could have love and I could be whatever. I could be famous. People could love me. People are going to watch me. People are going to, come to my, buy my stuff and all these things. And so I felt like maybe, and I don't think that consciously I felt that. I think that it was conditioning. I think that is conditioning, you know, it's conditioning. And also, you want to keep the peace. And so a lot of times you shrink because you want to keep the peace. You don't want to be the one that is loud and contradictory and all this kind of stuff. But guess what? Sometimes that is who you are and that's who you got to be. And it's going to work out better for you when you become your authentic self and you recognize that what difference does it make? You just don't care. Yeah, I don't care. Delayed destiny is another way that it shows up. So every time that you betray your intuition to please someone else, you push your divine assignments away. So basically, if you, and I'm going to give this real life example. So if somebody asks you to participate in a project and you really don't want to, or really, you don't really have time because you got your own shit that you're doing, but you say yes because you don't want to upset them. Um, you feel like maybe your thing is not as important. There are so many things that you could think of, but the fact is you accepted this thing. And so what happened? You stopped doing what your thing is because you don't have time to do your thing because you're doing their thing. So you have to think about that. That was something that I had to consider in my own life because I became a part of a project that I really believe in and I love. Y'all hear that wind and that rain? um, it's a project that I really believe in and I love. But I had to put it in perspective. And that's a whole nother thing because y'all know what I'm doing, the art of perspective. So I had to put it in perspective and I had to actually have the conversation with the person that was leading over this and say, I could do this, but I have to have this time and I need to do it this way, because at this point, it's not something that's bringing in any money. And so in the world that we live in, we need stuff that's going to bring money in. You know what I mean? So passion projects are beautiful if you're already at the place where you have a flow. But if you're not at the place where you have a flow, passion projects are not going to work for you. Not to take up all of your energy. Now, if it's something on the side that you can do, like you say, okay, well, I work or I don't work. Well, we're going to do this, once or twice a month or something like that. Different. But when you do things that take up so much more of your time and energy that you can put in to that is delaying your particular destiny, the thing that God put you here to do, the thing that you need to do. And so many of us don't really know even what that is. And so a lot of times this also can block intimacy because people pleasing creates walls. Okay. If someone only ever sees your agreeable mask, they don't know your authentic self. And so in my case, I say that because I am a Scorpio sun, a Pisces moon, and a Leo rising, I say that my Leo rising is front facing. My Leo rising is out there. You see that, and that is what attracted you to watch me and see. You feel my energy, you can see that, and it's great. But what happens with me is people see my Leo energy and they take it for weakness. I think, yeah, they take it for weakness, and I think sometimes they take it for an intelligence maybe. And so my Scorpio sun will come out and show the fuck up. And I try really hard to limit those type of interactions, but they happen. You know what I mean? So basically, if that person just experiences all of my Leo, then they don't really know who I am. They don't know. All right. So let's see. The other way is financial sabotage. People pleasers, and this is the thing, and I've done this, I've been guilty of this myself. People pleasers often undercharge or overgive or avoid setting boundaries in business. The subconscious belief is if I'm generous enough, I'll be valued. But this creates what? Scarcity, not abundance. Because you're doing all these sessions, you're doing doing hour long sessions and you're charging $25 and the people, you know, you're staying in a session for an hour and a half. So basically you charge $25 for an hour and a half session. And that is draining. And I'm not saying like I'm not, I'm not saying I could because my sessions are like not that expensive. Like I think mine are I have my sessions are $127 and that's for 45 minutes. And I typically give an hour, So I'm in that space too. I'm in that place where I am reconciling that and realizing that, you know what? I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that. And so typically you want to start with saying no when you want to say no and say yes when you want to say yes. And that seems easy enough. But I don't think it is. I think it's challenging. You know what I mean? Because if it wasn't, I wouldn't even be having this conversation with you because if you're watching me, then you're probably dealing with that same old shit. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about self-respect because one of the beautiful, beautiful creatures that I met, I met her a couple days ago, but we were having this same conversation, and I thought, whoa, I want to talk about that. And so self-respect is at the core of people pleasing because people pleasing is often a sign that self-respect is being compromised because you are not honoring your own needs, your own boundaries, and your own values. People pleasing happens when you override those needs, values to gain approval, avoid conflict, or control how others see you. Did you hear what I said? People pleasing happens when you override those needs, values to gain approval, avoid conflict, or control how other people see you. When you respect yourself, you don't need to sacrifice your truth for external validation. So people pleasing naturally stops. So one of the keys is respecting yourself. Who was it that sang the song? Aretha Franklin. Respect yourself. Na 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 na. Cause if you don't respect yourself, ain't nobody gonna give a good cahoot. Nah, 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 whoa. Respect yourself. I think it was also Otis Redding too. Anyway, that's what you got to do. What it looks like when self-respect is missing. So some of the same things in people pleasing, because it's all the same. That's a trinity. Saying yes when you want to say no. Saying yes when you want to say no. Feeling resentful but not speaking up. Overgiving to be liked or accepted. Tolerating disrespect, mistreatment, or neglect. Changing your opinions to match the group. Seeking validation to feel good enough. Do you recognize any of these? Because I'm going to tell you, I think that I always overgive. And I relate it to my life path, which is 9, and say that I am a um, humanitarian. So I really am a philanthropist, and that's what I am embodying. And so when I do that, though, sometimes in this respect, I overgive. You know, and for me, I don't think it's to be liked or accepted. It's just because that is who I am. But that's what I told myself. That's the story. Tolerating disrespect, mistreatment, or neglect. Now that is another thing that within the last couple of years, I just decided that I'm not tolerating any of that. Because I feel like I have tolerated so much of that in my life. Being a Black woman in America is complicated and challenging. Um, so we a lot of times have tolerated disrespect, mistreatment, and neglect. Um, the one place that I will not tolerate it is in my healthcare. I do not play with those people, because this is my life. My healthcare, my husband's. You want to see the bear come out of me or the scorpion rise, and changing your opinions to match the group. Now that's something that I don't think I ever did either, because I'm very opinionated about what I think about. What self-respect looks like in action. So setting clear boundaries without guilt, saying no when something doesn't align, valuing your time and energy as much as others, speaking your truth even if it risks disapproval, walking away from disrespectful or harmful situations, letting people be disappointed if it means staying in integrity. So, self respect, people pleasing, and self sabotage are tightly linked. Here's how they connect. Uh, People pleasing is a form of self sabotage because it puts others' needs above your own, drains your energy, leaving little time for your goals. It keeps you out of alignment. You make choices based on approval instead of your values. That part is huge. That's huge. That's huge because so many people sacrifice their values. But for what? Breeds resentment and burnout. You secretly undermine relationships or your own success later. That is some shit. Delays your growth. You stay small, safe, and likable rather than stepping into your full power. And that is something that I just decided like toward the end of the year. Because for me, I think I was afraid of my power. And then I was afraid of speaking my truth because sometimes it doesn't align with others' truth. So you hear what I just said, right? Yeah. So I decided, you know, and it's as simple as that. Set that intention, make that decision, whatever you want to call it. It's the same shit. Set an intention, make a decision. Same thing. Set an intention, make a decision. It's just words. Um, and so when you do that, it just makes you stay small. And I don't know about anybody else, but I have a big vision and I have a big mission. I have some things that I was sent here to do. We all do. A lot of times we don't know. People don't know what their vision is and what their mission is and why they were sent to this planet, to Earth. Or why'd you come back this time? Because we've typically been in a few lives. Like for me, I know that my husband and I have been in a few other lives together. I know that. We know that. Because we were too comfortable with each other in the beginning. For me, I didn't trust people, especially not men after coming from divorce. So, um, but when you consistently betray yourself to please others, you block your opportunities that require you to stand firmly in your truth. Yeah. So signs that you're self-sabotaging through people pleasing, overcommitting, so you have no time for your own priorities. We just talked about that. I'm just going to cover it again. Avoiding difficult conversations that can move your life forward. Sometimes you're scared to have the conversations. And I have been there recently. I had needed to have a conversation with someone and I was a little bit afraid to step into that moment. But now I have set intentions. I've made decisions to do that, to do just that. If the conversations are difficult, it's okay. Agreeing to things that take you off track and then feeling frustrated. That was me. Somebody would ask me to do something and I would feel like I needed to do it, even though it was taking me off the track that I needed to do. And I wasn't getting my stuff done, but I was getting their stuff done. Yeah, fuck that. Shrinking your voice so your ideas or offers never get heard. Yeah, a lot of times we do that. I have been guilty of that myself, because in my mind, I think, God, I put this stuff out there, I put this stuff out there, and nobody bites. Nobody clicks any links. I don't make no money. What is the problem? And so I realized that I was thinking that when I was creating the thing. And so I was creating the thing in that energy that nobody was gonna buy it and all this stuff. Cause I've been out here for years. And so I create that energy that nobody was gonna buy it. And so no, done with that. Staying in relationships, jobs, or environments that hurt you before leaving feels mean. Now, relationships, yes. Jobs, no. Environments, no. I have pretty much always honored myself as far as leaving jobs that don't align with me or are not working out for me, environments as well. I will move so fast, it will make somebody's head spin. Yeah. Yep. I will pack my shit up so fast that yeah, and be gone like the road runner. That's yeah, I've never had that issue. But relationships, yeah. Yeah. Stayed way too long in my first marriage and way too long in the other crazy relationship that I had that I needed to release. So yeah, that was a thing for me. The world of self-respect. Self-respect is the antidote to sabotage. So it makes you choose in favor of yourself, even if others don't like it. It makes you choose in favor of yourself, even if others don't like it. Self-respect. It breaks the cycle of chasing approval, feeling resentful, unconsciously sabotaging progress. It shifts your decisions from fear based to aligned so you stop undermining your future because that really is what you are doing. You are undermining your future. All right, so I have a little self honoring activation that I have created. And so I wanted to go over that with you guys just quickly because it's not very long. I got a little short one. So, first, you want to place one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. Close your eyes, breathe deeply 3 times. In through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Say aloud or silently, I am safe to be fully myself. I release the need for approval and I reclaim my divine authority. My yes is sacred. My no is sacred. Both honor my soul. I choose authenticity over performance, alignment over fear. By honoring myself, I create space for true love, abundance, and destiny to flow. Take one more deep breath and imagine golden light filling your body, sealing these words into your energy field. Each time you speak this, you're recoding your nervous system. The habit of pleasing dissolves, and the truth of who you are begins to radiate effortlessly. So, thank you so much for joining me. I want to let y'all know that I am offering spiritual counseling. So, if that's something that you've been looking for and you enjoy my vibe, you're loving the words that I speak to you, reach out to me. I have my stand stores in the comments. You can go there and check it out and see all the beautiful offerings that I have, some free, some paid, but I'm offering spiritual counseling. I also have a membership, Remember Who You Are, $25 a month that you can join and remember who you are. Um, what else? So I'm signing off. This is Tammy with a $1 billion voice. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye now.